What's up? This is Dad Dirty Spoons from the IWC, and this is the Wrestling Recap Prediction Show for TNA's Bound for Glory 2012. Bound for Glory, TNA, it's like their Super Bowl or WrestleMania, and they're pulling out all the stops. And it looks like not a moment too soon. TNA recently, last week, had their 2-year low in ratings. Their ratings were down about 15% going into their biggest pay-per-view of the year. That's saying something. I seriously doubt it was completely TNA's fault. I mean, WWE had some abysmal ratings as well. It was a bad week for wrestling all around, especially if you work for a wrestling company. Several people, including Greg Jaworski, was removed as his head writing skills position on Raw. But this is not about what's going on in the rest of the wrestling industry. This is about what's going on in TNA and their Bound for Glory pay-per-view coming up this Sunday, October 14th, 2012. I've got to say that this card is a little wanting for me personally. There's no announced X Division match. There's no announced big spot match. There's no announced Spot Fest match. You know, like I don't know, an Ultimate X match or anything of that nature. And several of these matches have actually rehashes from previous pay-per-views. But yeah, I'm not feeling this card. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I will probably be watching the Sunday Night Football and have this on, and I'm like, you know what? I'll go over Bunda 713's house and I'll watch it. He usually has a nice array of entertaining things. So I will be tweeting during the pay-per-view though, but I might be tweeting about the Houston Texans versus the Green Bay Packers game. Anyway, I digress. Here are my predictions. First up in the card, we have Joey Ryan versus Al Snow in a sanctioned match. Joey Ryan, if you have forgotten, which many people apparently have, was the one of two gut check opponents that did not get a TNA contract, but he's the one we've seen the most of all the gut check participants. He's been having a verbal sparring match with Al Snow, and they're going to have their very first sanctioned match. I'm not sure if you know this, but Al Snow still wrestles on the indies, so he's pretty sharp. And Joey Ryan, this is not his first match. I suspect this will be short. I suspect this will be basic, and I suspect that Al Snow will probably win and give Joey Ryan a contract anyway, just for being a pain in his ass. And then he will go into obscurity with the rest of the gut check contract winners, whatever that entails. Anyway, Knockout's title match is a rematch of the last pay-per-view. We've got Brooke Tessmacher versus Tara again, only this time Tara straight up heel. Doesn't matter, Tara's gonna lose. Tessmacher's gonna win. Next, TNA TV title is up for grabs. It's Samoa Joe versus Magnus. This is one of those matches that we actually haven't seen and might actually matter. I'm going to say that if this was not Bound for Glory, the biggest pay-per-view event of the year, I would say Magnus wins, because it would give a little bit more something for Joe to do while he's just defending the TV title against random mid-carders and lower upper card people in TNA. Yes, lower upper card is a thing in TNA. He would get the chase to get his title back. But this being their biggest pay-per-view on the road, and yeah, I really think Joe goes over. I think the company's finally done punishing him for whatever wrongs he's done, and they're going to give Joe a meteoric push to the mid-card. So Joe beats Magnus to retain his television championship. Next, we have the tag title match. It's a three-way dance of the champions, Daniels and Kazarian, versus AJ Styles and Kurt Angle, versus Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez. I consider this a complete rehash match. Adding Chavo and Hernandez does nothing to this match. And if anything, all it does is it gives somebody for AJ Styles to do crazy spots on. And AJ Styles is someone for Hernandez to do crazy spots on. I do believe that Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels have had the tag title belts for a while, and they're heels. And I think they're going to drop it to the team of AJ Styles and Kurt Angle Again, it's the biggest pay-per-view of the year. I think they're going to want to reward the TNA originals and give them that moment away from the Impact Zone in Orlando. Big lights on bright. I think they're going to trust only their most seasoned veterans, and you don't get more veteran than AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, your new TNA Tag Team Champions. Then we've got this Sting and Bully Ray are teaming up against Aces and Eights members, and if the Aces and Eights members win, they have access to the Impact Zone. If Bully Ray and Sting win, Aces and Eights go away. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are checking the Twitterverse, but TNA has already spilled the beans that at their next pay-per-view, the poster prominently features a biker with a vest on that says Aces and Eights, which leads me to believe that this aggravating, annoying, drawn-out, long-winded storyline will continue, and therefore Bully Ray will turn on TNA, he will turn on Sting, aid Aces and Eights, and continue to have this storyline go on and on and on. My only hope is that there's some kind of reveal. Let me see that somebody, Eric Bischoff, sure, I'll take Eric Bischoff, who was behind all this nonsense. On another note, hopefully they'll release Greg Parks. Maybe we'll see an Abyss spotting in Phoenix. I don't know. I also don't think anybody cares. Next, we've got the street fight between Bobby Roode and James Storm. King Mo, the MMA/TNA wrestler. Yeah, I was really hoping that this was going to be a straight up wrestling match to see who the better man is. But since it's a street fight and anything goes, that generally, again, favors the heel. Unfortunately, Bobby Roode has already gone over James Storm several times in this feud, and if this is the final blow-off match, I gotta go with James Storm. James Storm has to win, keep heat, and so he can continue to go after that TNA Heavyweight Champion. So, after a year and a half about of infighting, Bobby Roode, James Storm finally comes to a head. James Storm gets his revenge, and he probably cracks a beer bottle over Bobby Roode, pins him 1, 2, 3, who cares? And on to the hopefully main event, Austin Aries versus Jeff Hardy. And I think this is where this pay-per-view really falls off the rails. Yes, this is actually one of the matches that we have not seen in its entirety on the big stage. But all indications were that James Storm was going to be winning this tournament, and it was going to be James Storm versus Bobby Roode for the title. I think that would have added a little bit more to this rivalry, since that's how the whole thing got started, and that's how the whole thing should end. Unfortunately, TNA did not listen to me. I don't know why, and they're finding themselves in a very tough spot. But that is where we're at. Hopefully, this is their main event. I'm thinking that maybe the Aces and Eights match might, for the big reveal, to be the big shocker at the end of the night, that might be the main event, but I hope that is not the case. Anyway, Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy, TNA Heavyweight Champion. Here's what's going to happen. All they've been talking about the past 2 weeks is Jeff Hardy's redemption, and Austin Aries has been cutting heel-ish promos on Jeff Hardy, so he's going into the heel's direction. Again, not a move I am not agreeing with, but it's one that TNA is going. That being said, so many faces have gone over on this pay-per-view so far, and the only heels so far is Bully Ray and Aces and Eights. So if Austin Aries and Jeff Hardy's in the main event, and Aces and Eights has already, I guess, influenced Bully Ray, and Bully Ray's turned on TNA, then Jeff Hardy wins the main event, and he becomes the new TNA Heavyweight Champion. However, if this is the main event, if this is not the main event, then I see Austin Aries winning, because they can still get that huge shock factor at the end if Bully Ray does turn on TNA, on Sting, and aids Ace and A. But the promo that I'm going with, what I'm going with is I'm going to go ahead and say that Austin Aries retains the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Again, They felt enough to give him the belt. They felt enough for him to have the belt. And I think that they should continue to ride Austin Aries into success or failure. That's just me. Quick rundown of the card. I see Al Snow losing, but Joey Ryan getting a contract. I see Miss Tessmacher going over on Terra to retain her TNA Knockouts title. I see Samoa Joe going over Magnus to retain his TNA television title. I see the tag team three-way match. I see AJ Styles and Kurt Angle becoming the new TNA tag team champions. Sting gets turned on by Bully Ray. Bully Ray is the secret member of Aces and Eights. James Storm over Bobby Roode, and Austin Aries retains his TNA Heavyweight Championship, and the Bound for Glory series continues to mean nothing. That's how I see TNA's Bound for Glory going on this weekend on Sunday. I do not predict I'll be doing a post show. However, I will be doing a show on Saturday. I don't see me changing any of these predictions depending on what happens on Thursday. Thursday's Impact didn't change my mind, and I pretty much had these picks for about 2 or 3 weeks now. But hey, I've been wrong before. I just don't think I'm wrong now. This has been That Dirty Spoon to the IWC, and I'm signing off.